We must love ourselves enough to know that we deserve better. Yeah, we must love ourselves. So, banange, as usual, kandabe bamaze sharing this space. As usual, good. Yeah, banange, thank you for sharing the space without being reminded. Muli balungi nnyo. Kati, let's keep sharing, let us keep talking, let us keep, cultivating our self-love. All right. Kakati naye, what is self-love? When you have self-love, nga weeyagala nga gwe omuntu. Omanyi, omuntu osobola okubeera nga nawe teweeyagala, tokyesobola weevaako dda ne weekasuka eri. Kati oba nga tokyevaako, tokyeyagala. Then there is no motivation for doing anything. Anything, for looking after yourself, for even planning for tomorrow, for anything. There is no motivation whatsoever. So when you have self-love, you have appreciation for yourself. Nga gwe. And you have some positive regard for yourself. Omanya nti, yeah, nze Florence, neyagala. I know I am worthy. I am hopeful. I am, as human being, I'm someone, I have values. And when you have that sense, you are going to plan. You're going to take actions. You are going to, take chances. You're going to take on new opportunities to make yourself better. To make yourself better, you're going to plan, you're going to wish yourself good things. Ogenda kweyagaliza ebintu ebirungi kuba weeyagala. Nakitaba. Ogenda kweyagaliza ebintu ebirungi, ogenda kufuba okulaba you develop. Nti okukulaakulana gwe ng'omuntu. Nakitaba. Ogenda kufuba okulaba nga ebintu buli kimu ky'olaba nga kirungi nawe ng'okola ki? Ng'okyeyagaliza. Self-love. Okweyagala. Kutuwa amaanyi. It empowers us to take risks and say no to things that don't work for us. Ekintu ekyo tekikolera. Okikola ki? Okigaana. Kubanga weeyagala ekimala, or you can stand up n'ogamba anze ekyo tekinkolera ekyo kibi, kimpisa bubi, kingenda kundwaza, kuba weeyagala. Okitegera, weeyagala. You have that self-love. Ekyo kibi sikyagala, kigenda kundwaza, kigenda kunnemesa, it's going to cause me mental problems. You can refuse things when you have self-love. Self-love etuyamba okwerabirira. Okwerabirira, okufuba okulaba nti buli kye tukola tusucceedinga. Ate wabanga era olina self-love, like I have said, you have that strong sense. And you understand your own values. Ate you even treat yourself in a loving way. Ekitegeera nti gwe nga gwe olaba ebintu like really from that appreciation of yourself. You understand your own values. You treat yourself in a very loving way. And you can say no to things that don't work for you. Self-love. Now, no one is going to love me more than I love myself. No. And I can't expect anyone to love me more than I love myself. Now, do we really love ourselves enough in this march to Parliament? Because there are many things that have happened, and I noticed some people are going to get confused, but I thought it's good to talk about this topic because I think it's what is one of the things that we can actually come back to focus. Self-love. Do we love ourselves enough to say no to things that don't work for us? To take risks, to take care of ourselves. Because it all starts with us. If I love myself enough, I know I deserve, when I'm sick, I deserve to be looked after well. I wish that for myself. At least I wish it for myself. When I love myself enough, I know, like, if I'm to die, I don't want to die in a way that is disgusting, in a way that I feel horrible and embarrassed in my last moments. I don't want that. So, those of you are just coming in, Banang and Science of Balaba, I thought I would do this space for us to, reflect and also talk about self-love. Yeah, talk about self-love and how it comes into this march to Parliament to stop corruption. Yeah. Now, I'm still looking for a co-host. If anyone is is available. I'm still looking for a co-host. But let's keep going as well. If you want to speak, you can ask for the microphone at any time. Okay? Yeah. Today the topic is simple. We are discussing a simple topic today. How does self-love come into much to Parliament? Now, after we've realized, like I've said, what self-love is, I'll repeat it for those who are just coming in. Self-love is when you have that appreciation of yourself. You have a positive regard for yourself. Weyagala, and you wish like that positivity in a negative way. I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm hopeless. Nenga wewe that positive. Nawe ng'omanyi nti mbutuufu oli muntu. First of all, you're a human being. You know you are worthy. You know you are, you understand your own values. And that treatment, like you treat yourself with love, And how does self-love help? When you nga weeyagala, obanga neeyagala, okweyagala kutuyamba to take actions, okola ebikolwa ebitutwala mu maaso to help to be successful. And also take chances, take new opportunities, that are aimed at, it's about, even when you love yourself, you are hopeful. To be honest, you are hopeful, you are enthusiastic, like you are open to opportunities, And for me, the most important thing is that when you love yourself enough, you are not afraid to say no to things that don't work for you. Now, with all the challenges that are going on, I thought, we need to reset a bit, go back to our individuality. Kubanga, there are many challenges that are going to come along the way, which we've faced some are still coming, some are still coming. And when we don't have the motivation, because self-love motivates, it's a motivation itself to go for opportunities, to want better for ourselves, So with all the challenges that are being thrown left, center, with all the confusion, with all the, and this was meant to come, by the way, this was meant to happen because, and Ugandans, we have to be, we are doing this for the first time as well. We have to be kind to ourselves somehow. For the first time, we are coming out to stand together as Ugandans, leaderless. We are all leaders. We are all leaders. One particular person leading. In the public like this, on public platforms, planning, and we execute. It is the first time. Everybody is new in this, so we are meant to make mistakes. We are meant to, to know how to handle certain situations. Because we are all many. We are many and everybody is different. So again, we go back that we are leaderless and I'm my own leader. For me, one of the motivations is self-love, to do whatever I'm doing, to fight corruption. Because I know what I wish for myself, even my loved ones, is that when I get sick, I want to be able to go to a hospital, find a doctor, find nurses, find medicine, find a CT scanner, go for pathology, do all those, access services that can help me get better. I love myself that much to know that I am worthy to get that. I love my loved ones very much to know that they are worthy to get that. And for me, it's a motivation. The question is, do you love yourself enough? Do you? Because when we realize that, the power of self-love, then begin to background noise. Background noise. There's nothing that will stop us. Nothing. Nothing that will stop us at all. And I know we always, love starts from within us most of the time. That's why all the time. Love has to start from within us. Well, we can get it also from different people. Maybe our parents can get it from God. We can get it from partners, friends, and everybody. But it starts from within us as well. If we don't love ourselves enough, then even it will be very hard for other people to love us. Okay? Yeah. So anyway, if you want to speak, please ask for the microphone. Yeah? Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? In this march to parliament, like I said, when you love yourself enough, you have that motivation. You have the power. You get, you just take the actions, and you say no to things that don't work for you. For example, in this march to parliament, why are we marching to parliament? To stop corruption. The nature of our roads, potholes everywhere. I love myself enough to know that if I buy a car, I want to drive it on a good road. I love myself enough to know I'm worthy of that. I love myself enough to know these are my rights, and I fight for them, and I get them. I'll remind you again, please share the space if you haven't yet, and you can put I've just read a comment in the comment section that from us have been in music class with that voice. I thank God, Mnange. May God gives us different different gifts. Actually, sometimes I think, I'm like, okay, if I was in a better country, maybe not about the musician. But well, I didn't get the opportunity to, be one. But I still sing anyway. I still sing sometimes. Sometimes it's not so good, but I'm happy with it. Yeah. Thanks, M Culture. Yes, you can post in the comment section. I'll read your comments. That's all there is for now. So if you can't speak, you can put in the comment section. Okay. But I would rather you speak to us. You can ask for the mic, and I'll give you the mic, by the way, if you want to speak. But the topic today, we are now talking about self-love. Do we love ourselves enough as Ugandans to know that we do not deserve to die Mukasasiro? Do we love ourselves enough to know do we love ourselves enough to know that, we deserve to, to have equal share, equal opportunities when we are looking for jobs? Do we love ourselves enough to know that 20 women should not be dying every day giving birth? Do we love ourselves enough to know that we actually deserve better? That electricity should not be turned off for ICU for more than 2 hours, that people are going to die. Anyway, let me just take a break and have a drink of water as Stella speaks to us. Stella, you can unmute and speak to us. Thank you so much.
So Florence, I think so. Good morning. I mean, I think that people are hesitant to speak because the topic is very difficult. Love, self-love. What does love mean? What do I love myself? In Uganda, but okwagala meaning self-love is I think for me is a deep concept. Abantu bangi twakozibwa tebatwagala, tetumanyi kwagala, era tetwagala, tetwagala bantu, tweyagaliza. So I think I want to start from that note of saying that I think for me, while I speak about the broader Ugandan context of do I love myself enough to realize I deserve working public services, working education, etc., I want to bring the concept of self-love to the current, what you call confusion. I think for me, it's just a crisis that's interesting in the March to Parliament movement. There are many diversions around this and that and the other, some around money, some around accountability, some around who is forcing themselves to be a leader, who thinks they can keep money as if they can't, as if we all can't keep money, etc., etc. And I think for me that in terms of what's happening currently, this concept of self-love or loving oneself is really important, because I know, for me, I know, because I love Stella Nyanzi and she has a set of values, nina values zange, nina principles zange, there are things I don't do. There are things I cannot, I cannot bring myself to do. I see people doing them and I'm like, the sort of customs and principles and values and beliefs I have and what I want for the world, what I want for my children, I can't do that. I can't find myself doing that. And I think for me, therefore, money and thinking that there's a sense of entitlement, which I think some people, they covet, you know what covet means? Like they gomba n'ekitali kyabwe kubanga beeyagaliza, and I think for me that comes down to values, that if there's collective community possession or resource. Waliwo sente zakunganyizibwa abantu to help abantu abali bafunye ekizibu. Our comrades were arrested, some were hurt or wounded, whatever. We collected money, it's there. And then some of the people who actually want to get some of the money are among our comrades who are in jail, and maybe they're really facing real severe challenges. But because values are important, these moments of crisis highlight what values a person has. So someone will say, I wasn't part of the collection of the money. Bail was not paid for me. Legal aid is free, pro bono, the lawyer services. Kakati bampe ku sente ezo, because after all rent yange bankwata sisasudde myezi ebiri, naguno sigusasudde, ate kugenda kuggwako tuli halfway. So waliwo okweyagaliza okuli awo. When you question one's values, olaba nti ye teyeyagala, tayagala bantu banne naye yeyagaliza, right? And I think for me, that's one way in which self-love can be corrupted. And I think one of the things I'm realizing now is that really we don't have shared values. We don't have collective values. We don't have shared values. I have certain spaces where people are just so entitled, this question of our money. You collected that money for us. You didn't pay bail. Give us our money. And the sort of lack of love and self-care towards people who really are keeping money out of goodwill, who collected money, because if another name had been used to collect money, maybe we wouldn't have as much. People who collected money individually and then gave it to the collective and gave it to one custodian who delegated to others. And I think that part of the problem is those of us who are questioning, like, how could someone think that this money is, someone said it's public money. Actually, it's not. It's private money. It was collected privately for a specific need. We don't know how long our commitment to fight corruption is going to be. That's the second thing, that because of our different values, some people came for a one-night stand, for a one-day event. The event is over. There is balance. Give us our balance. And again, it's about commitment. Do we think about the commitments we make? Do I love myself enough to know that when I'm investing time and resources in a process such as end corruption, it may be a process that's going to take all my life, or the next 20 years. So whatever resources I have, I'm not spending carelessly. I'm saving and spending when it helps the collective, when it helps the collective goal of stop corruption. And so I think for me, that people who don't love themselves enough will commit carelessly to this and that and the other and that. And those one-time events are very easy to commit to. But a person who loves their time, their resources, their energies, their commitment, their input into things, thinks very carefully. Ngenda kuteekawa obudde bwange. Nina eddakiika abiri mu nnya kuliko okulya, okwebaka, okunaaba, okwagala benjagala, my children, my wife, my lover, my whoever, okuwummula. Then nina about 8 hours or 12, depending on how productive one is, to invest in things that make me money, but also into the community. So how do I invest? How much do I love myself to know that every second I invest into a process, kundeetera amagoba? Otherwise, nandigenze nenkola exercise mu gym, oba neneebaka, cells zange ne zirejuvenating. But if you're committing to a process, have we thought through? It wasn't a one-time event. And so the attitudes around the collected money for me actually highlight what people think of themselves and the commitment to participate in March to Parliament. Mu kifo ky'okusavinga kati abantu bagamba mpa nkole ki, nsasule rent, mpa nkole ki. I don't know. Essentially, I've had people saying it's 34 million, 35 million. There were 115 people who were arrested. Whatever. And that is, for me, that is then selfishness, self-centeredness, selfish love, not love of self, which elevates one to a collective good, knowing that I am because we are. So this whole Ubuntu principle is, for me, it has been an overriding principle. So the things we're talking about, Florence, about okubeera mu kasasiro, okufiira mu kasasiro, okulya enguzi, obutayogera ku nguzi, the hospitals that work, education that works, leaders that think about all of us before they think about themselves. All those questions around what you're calling self-love, for me, are questions around values. So I'll end by saying that for me, my father raised us, my father was Dr. Nyanzi, he raised us saying, fe banyanzi, tetukola kino, banyanzi, tetu, banyanzi, tetu, banyanzi, tetu. And we grew up knowing what we don't do. Much more than what we do, from my father. Every time he wanted to give a lecture, or every time he wanted to criticize the government at the dining table or the lunch table, he would start, Febanyanzi, Tetuba. And yayogezanga simbo. He spoke in a very, Febanyanzi, Tetusosola, Febanyanzi, Tetwegwaniza. And you'd have a whole lecture, you'd be eating, but you'd not be rolling your eyes because Febanyanzi, Tetu. And I think for me, that's another way of loving oneself, to know what you do and what you don't do. To know when to leave spaces that no longer serve what you do and who you are. To know when to question. I've been around spaces where there's so much question, silencing of question. I think we have to allow ourselves to sit in spaces where people hold different opinions. My father used to say, and for him, that was about diversity, that I may not eat what you eat, I may not worship the same God as you worship, I may not feel the same way about the same things that you eat, you feel but I can sit with you, sit with our difference comfortably. And you'll eat your buds, your weaver buds. I will eat my ntula. You might despise me. I might also despise you, but we can sit and eat together. Because if we eat together, then we can work together. We can do things together. Trust is built. But I think for me that a deep question you're raising, Florence, this morning for us is, we have to get to that point of saying, nga wa march to parliament, father march to parliament. Tetu kola kino, tetu nga tulina nnono zaffe, tetwegwanyiza ssente za collective. Tetumala biseera nnyo mu kukubagana lwa ssente. We agree on a principle and it's done. Tetwebojja. Tubojja ideas. Let's criticize ideas. Let's criticize processes. Let's criticize. But sitting down and criticizing, ate Agatha, ate Elia, ate Solomon. Oh God, it's becoming so tiring, you know? And I think for me, perhaps you're calling us to individual self-reflection, but I hope the self-reflection can then yield a collective consciousness. Nti faba stop corruption. Tetukola kino. Twemanyi, tetugulwa, tetusasulwa, tetulina bakulembeze, tetulina era tetweguya. Tetweguya, tena kweguya. Oba olaba nti tetwakuwa ssente, nga landlord wo ayagala kugoba kubanga you are protesting, you know, tukwagala nnyo naye tetugenda kweguya. Waliwo ebintu tutakola. And I think for me that very quickly we have to get back to basics. If it means sitting down and licking our wounds, we've been wounded left, right, and center. Some of the wounds come from ourselves. Me, I keep saying self-care is really important. Many people have written to me the last few hours saying, dude, I'm so disappointed. Dude, my energy has expired. Dude, what are we going to do? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Oh, I mean, last night I was trying to sleep and I was getting messages, WhatsApp and Signal and Telegram, people who have my private lines, people who know me privately, you know, and then of course Twitter. But my inboxes were buzzing, like people are really down. And then others are like, hey, twagala sente zaffe. And so the discouragement, I think, is shared quite widely among many of us. The disappointment, we thought we were working with anti-corruption guys, yet some of us are corrupt. So I think part of what we need to do, Florence, is listen to your call of, why am I in this? Why did I invest my first hour into the spaces? The first space I attended. Why have I stayed? What am I looking for? How does March to Parliament echo my own principles, my values? The next 10 years, the next 2 years, the next 1 year, the next 6 months until the end of the year. Stop corruption, right? And if we don't have that individual assessment, if we didn't do it before starting, then I think now is a good time to just stop for a little while and reflect as individuals, and then as the small cliques we have, because clearly they are cliques with their friendships, which is okay. And then the collective, people who used to sit in spaces and those who didn't sit in spaces. Like we are a collective doing different things. Those who visited prisoners and those who didn't visit prisoners, those of us in Uganda and those of us away, those of us with experience and those of us without experience. We have to come to a point where we have some shared values. I thought we did. Actually, it's taking longer for us to realize that we are very different. When you talk about self-love, Florence, abantu abamu beeyagaliza, abalala tweyagala, abalala tumanyi okwagala okugamba nti sisobola kuba bulungi nga gwe toli bulungi. And I think that love of self connotes different things to different people because we were raised differently, our values are different, but also corruption has affected us differently. That's why you see that a person with degrees and working in human rights law can sometimes say the most unprincipled things, the most valueless things, or unvalued things, or uncultured things. We must come to a place where we have a shared culture around money, around self-care and caring for others, around commitment, around responsibility. Because we don't agree on how the money has to be treated. We're in different cultures. And I think this is what coming together entails. Very soon we realize, very soon you realize what the committing towards until death do us part. Bwe muba temubugonjodde obuntu obwo omuntu anoba, marriages break up, oba musobola obugonjoola mpola mpola. But obugonjoola osooka n'olowooza lwaki bw'anyiga Colgate n'amunyigira eno waggulu kinyiiza nnyo. Anje alina okulowooza lwaki mukyala wange bw'angambako ku kya Colgate sichitegeera. Some of those small things. And I think if self-love is also reflected in loving others, being patient towards others, we can forge a way. But I think our notions of love are very different. Very, very different. Florence, like I began, not everybody was raised on love. Not very many of us know what love is. Not many of us have been called to love of self that is selfless. A lot of our love is very selfish, egocentric, self-centered. And that is what causes friction because our understandings of love, self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence differ, totally differ. And so I think you're inviting us to an important conversation, but it's a very difficult conversation, Florence. You're inviting us to look inside. Atuka n'afiirwa banne banna mu garbage Prime Minister namugamba wadde okungubaganga n'abaana bo tebannabalaba mujje mu meeting eno mutambule mujje mu meeting, right? Nabbanja akuliriza comfort and convenience for herself, you know, talowoozezza nti nkungubaga nkyayagala abaana bange ninde ndabe the last heap of rubbish ekulibwayo oba kuliko ku mukono gwe realizinga ti mukono gwa mwana wange gwe nnize ku baana be nafiiriddwa. So what is self-love if even the leaders we have are very selfish, very self-centered? They don't care about amulinanye gwalinako responsibility. It's been very selfish. I know there are many people who want to speak, including Los Santos, but I think for me it's an important conversation. It's also a very difficult conversation. Florence, thanks for raising it. I wish there were more people in this space, especially a lot of the people who are in the WhatsApp group that caused controversy last night. I wish some of them were in this space and got the opportunity to reflect on what it means to have a set of values that work for you and your commitment towards Uganda. So you're saying self-love. Me, I'm calling it having some values for which one stands. And if we have values as individuals, those values determine what you can participate in and what you can't. Like I said, you raise your hand and say, if you raise your hand the second time, the third time you walk away because of banyanzi. So for anti-corruption, we ask. We'll ask again. Stop corruption. Thank you very much and have a good morning.
Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you, really. Thank you so much. Omanyi, even me, I will admit, in a topic, it's not the first time ebanga, because like me, to be honest, like you must have some values, and that is part of self-love. To understand, these are my values, and I stand on them, and I'm this kind of person. It's part of self-love. Honestly. I mean, Stella, you have raised really so many points, which are really important. Ella, in following up, of course, because of the events that have been happening, this is why I thought today, I'm holding this space. Because actually, this is my first space I'm hosting. I've been co-hosting, but this is my first space I'm hosting in March to Parliament, because normally I'm hosting a space. But today, whatever, I mean, I've put so many things on the side, on everywhere, to make sure I host this space. Because this is really important. Chile is so important. We have to understand, at individual basis, we have to realize, Ugandans, we deserve better. And that we can only realize that no one is going to respect us if we do not respect ourselves first. Values, if I don't have my own values, I think it's value. Value. It's simple. It means you don't have values, because the first of all, when you just so era kyekimu ekindeese okwogerako nti waliwo abantu okweyagaliza kuyinza okuba nga kuyitiridde naye mu kweyagaliza olowooza okweyagaliza okwo kureflectinga gwennyini okuba nga weeyagala, kubanga bw'oba nga oyagala ssente. For example, I will just give this as an example. We haven't even gotten the first demand of March to Parliament, which is Anita Among must resign. But kibanga abantu right now, they are so fixated. Obwongo bwonna buvudde wonna gye buli bafuba kulaba nti ezo ssente ziveewo, tuzirye mangu tuzirye nga banyizaako tugabane nga tetunnabaako wadde okufuna first value, first demand of March to Parliament. Try to send the fight against corruption. Let's be honest to ourselves. Kati tuba tulaga nti we love ourselves enough to know what we deserve. Already even we don't know what we deserve. We don't know what we deserve. Already it's plain. So now we can actually fight to the end. Corruption. Why are we fighting corruption? To have better healthcare. Do we love ourselves enough? Do we even believe that we deserve it in the first place? So remember, maybe we need to have a conversation on this. We need to really self-reflect. Do we believe we deserve it? Value and we deserve it. Useless idiots, like bisoto. Because when you love yourself enough, you appreciate yourself. You look at yourself positively. So So again, do we love ourselves enough? Because if we do, we will work for it. Las Santos, please unmute and speak to us.
Good morning. Thank you, Florence. Thank you, Dr. Stella Nyanzi, Good Girl, LMDAD, and others. Thank you for being on. It is sad and it's a very difficult question or topic to start to tackle. However, to me, I want to start by saying where there is no love, there is no solidarity, there's always fear and there's no unity. And that all we must all agree on that. Ewatali mukwano tosobola sangawo bumu tosobola sangawo still tosobola sangawo mukwano tosobola sangawo togetherness ate tosobola kusangawo ssanyu. We are in a country where almost every Ugandan is a sadist, and that is, that is the truth. I want to start by this. If we happen to make up a poll, an online poll, netubuuza bana Uganda bagitunde bulemba muweko sente, trust me, most Ugandans will go on that side. So that's where we are. We batutusiza nti buli Uganda is willing okutunda Uganda bulemba muweko ezize atambulave mu Uganda. Trust me, if we happen to do such a poll, like chenyamiza, but trust me, most Ugandans will vote for yes. So that's where we have reached. It means bana Uganda teba China love elinsia. I tell what, when there is no love totally, the country is in a mess. But this was done deliberately. Trust me, it's only a few Ugandans that at least, abasoma political education, whereby they can get to know their rights as Ugandans, also love their country. If you compare this generation and the generation of maybe our
Florence, can you check your DM, please?
Okay, thanks. Las Santos, you can go on.
If you compare our generation and let's say the generation of our parents, it is totally different. The other generation had love. They could work together in a community so that they can build up Uganda. But as of now, like Dr. Stelanyan said, even our leaders as of now, umuntu osobola okwebaka as a leader ne webaka n'obulizaako otulonga ebisaaniko byabutukidde abantu. Right from the president, ne webaka. Last time I was in NBS ngandaba prime minister. Like she's comfortably okay. Yes, it happened. I'm the lead of business. We are working. The government here is excavator, and we are trying our best. The language of also the policemen that were deployed on the site, there is nothing to tell as long as temuli mwana wa. That's where we are. You get? So we are all sadists, but it starts from way back. Walk through the city. Look at the bangles. Those are all Kenyan flags, Rwanda flag. But how many Ugandans look? Ugandan flag? No one. There are few Ugandans. Truly Mugwanga, each and every one. Most Ugandans are sadists. They're at a level of saying Egwanga balitunde bampezange. Because of a lot of things happening from them. Like Dr. Steyanyan said, most people have never even seen love. They have never. And where there is no love, someone can't reason. There will be fear. This march to parliament, if Ugandans were raised in a lovely country, there's no gaps between the elites and the people. Trust me, would have achieved so many of our demands. But first of all, we have an education gap within Ugandans. And it is wide and big. Most Ugandans cannot even define what is corruption. Most of the comments what is Twitter, what is X? But this was the cause of each and every Ugandan. Omuzadde atwala omwana ku ssomero erya $5,000,000 kudda waggulu oba 3M+. Reasoning the same n'omuzadde atwala omwana ku ssomero erya $215. They cannot reason the same. So that's an education gap. N'abo abaana after coming out from school, trust me, the values Dr. Stella Nyanzi zayogeddeko ezitugatta kati to start thinking the same, loving one another, they are totally different. If Basantos abakulidde Kawempe, our way of thinking is totally different. More abaana bakulidde Kololo and other fancy places. So the love between us is totally different. Waliwo atwala omwana omukyala w'okukeskini okuzaalira eyo, waliwo naffe abatwala abakyala baffe mulago okuzaalira eyo ku ttaka wansi ku semiiti. And you know what we are creating? We are creating another. Actually, to me, I would say, Florence, the another generation after us is going to be the worst generation because it has grown in a very difficult moment. Bagenda kubeera heartless. And this, but our leaders cannot see this. The coming generation is going to be heartless. Trust me, there are going to be high levels of criminality in this country because there is totally no love. If you're good at intelligence, if you look into the crimes that people do, when you investigate where they were grown up, where they grew up from, you understand that there was no love totally. Now, what do you think abana baba politicians basibidde mu makomera kumala emyaka 5. What do you think they are thinking? These are the people that are going to say, okay, Stella Nyanzi, I'm sorry to say this, maybe was FDC, maybe was NRM. That's the generation that is coming. And we have leaders that cannot even think beyond that. They're not thinking of what is coming up next in the next 20 or 30 years or 50. Most Ugandans think about Uganda of now, but we are not planning Uganda of the next 20 years. But the answer also would be, how are we going to build love, back within Ugandans? The other question to be raised, how are we going to pull out love so that every Ugandan trust me. Do you know why there's a lot of domestic violence to China marriages lasting for long? Because we to that level. Let me say this to myself personally. Why? I'm having a force from people regime. Nakubire simutaina sukali nino muganika katunu singachi manyi bulungi nti yamperera paka university nevi nasoma sibikola nganino obusungu nenyike ku mutima. To you the NLM people on this platform mubeera mwebuza ne lwaki twogera nnyo olusi ne tunyiga ne tubavuma ne tubayisamu eggali. It's because we are sad. Tetuyina mukwano n'akatono gugenda gutugwamba ati what do you think of the children we are giving birth to? Ngokedde ku macha no siyaga taata we nakera ku macha nagamba government yansiyaga. Do you think that child ng'akiwulidde ku mutima agenda sigala kyekimu? Like Dr. Stella Nyanzi said, bewawe bakulembezanga ekigambo kimu ffe banyanzi tetubba. Ffe banyanzi tetukola kino, and that's why we have seen us standing strong for wrongs, standing against whatever is being done wrong within this country. So it is the same thing that is going to happen. Kubana bomugenzi Yasini Kauma, kubana ba bomukyalo no gwe battira emotoka gwe yanyako police, kubana bomuvubuko no gwe ba abana bene baganda be, muvubuko no gwe battira wano bodyguard wa Kyagulanyi, kubana ba each and every political prisoner. Ababana, they are our next leaders. Ababana, they are going to be the very worst, saddest generation. We are here, Nemutiambu, we are the Gen Z of now, now the other generation again about Kuba. Because they are Ajabatakuri Demukwano Nakaton, watch out Yakuliba Mukwano Nakaton. The Florence, the good girls here, the LM that does here, they are not here to waste time. Trust me, if they have kids or children, the language they are using towards them, because those who are Kubango Nigris, we don't know what is happening in their homes. But trust me, they are kids, Twitter spaces. They will be organizing a lot of things, if just in case at that time this is the same regime taking over Uganda. So we are a generation that has no love because of a lot of things. No, sponsored. These people are fighting for this country because so there is that gap between us. Trust me, if we singa to demonstrating a very well organized, the idea of cases singa resigning zedda. Singa resigning gadda. The Lord Mayor too, I'm sorry, he's a friend to Dr. Stella Nyanzi, but singa resigning zedda. That's to be honest. Buli gwe kikwata ke sawa zino singa resigning zedda ku bantu n'oli omukyala na omwami yagamba nti omwami wa mukyala wange yankubira essimu nga gyali wansi n'atuuka okufanga muwulira ku ssimu. You know how sad is that? The last time twaba nokuspacing a new story yange nembagamba mine is not my worst story. I'm being honest, kativiri mukujja. As I end, I'm sorry to say this. It is sad ne munsonyi ochogera. Chiruma ne munsonyi. I've said munsonyi ochogera. I personally amatabano wegana bagaze mu Uganda ne gayiwa ebizimbe by'abantu. I will be happy for Ugandans to wake up and understand. So that is the saddest moment I'm in. Ebinya njagala bigazi webibere binene okukube ekinyi emotoka yegwemu wevunike bakuzikire okutuko mutwe. So that people get to know that this is serious. This is very, very, very serious, guys. Up to now, China, Uganda, Bama, Muragori, Dagala, Nenga, Yenga, Yobulambo, to Kuka, and Natwala, Nea, government to take a Dagalamunt, Marwari, Jigalim, Elem Dadam, Gerabogas, because you don't support government. You get me mean by the spaces one, so get an Engudium, Tajana, it's Yanoganim, I don't know what's here. Nino Tamunenia, because we have a gap. There is a gap between Ugandans, there is a bigger gap. As of now, Zomkwana Uganda Bagamba, that's where we have reached. But do you think Kenyans can do that? Because they love their country. They know their rights. But most Ugandans, nobody want to speak. They cannot define corruption. They cannot. Most Ugandans here don't even know their constitution. They cannot define their constitution. First of all, they don't even know their rights. Because we were today, but the mufie ne tuko close and tuko kwekala kasobozi zo musango gwa manyi ogusingayo mu nsi eno gwe batutadde mu fear nti to associate yourself with Dr. Stella Nyanzi or Dr. Besigye or Kyagulanyi. It is the worst thing you can ever do in life. That's the fear they have associated with us. Atiteri mu fefe kaba na Uganda, it's in all sectors. The journalists emirimu gye bakola sije balina okola, but because that is fear, there is no love. Tebalina mukwano erinsi yaba, as long as tekimutuuseko over family. The policemen as well. Boboli kunongo oli musikale, just know you are doing what you're doing because you don't have love. You're a sadist person. And deliberately bakitutuusaako awe tutuuse. The judicial system as well. Nokera ku machane baleta abana b'abanno mu kooti gw'omulamuzi n'ogamba nalwaziza nja koma opaka omwezi ogujja. Ne balimandinga. That is not love for the country. That is not love. That is, you are a sadist. We batwagala we batutusiza all the institution of this country. Zonna ututuse. Same goes to parliament as well. Nalaba ombaka mwada nkunyinji ngayogera akaba, but fools came out. Nalaba in the background ngaloba MP abaseka because oli anyumiza ku bantu berusanja. Abantu kasasiro yabibu kidinga. There is a fool laughing. I'm sorry to say this because oli akaba. On the next political shows, Prime Minister nava mwechigamonti. Mwada nkunyinji yadanonya relevance. Yadanonya kalulu chovala yadakaba. Yabadaka. It's because you Prime Minister toinayo mwana wo, toinayo bawo, toinayo muntu akwatako. Gwenewe bafata bikwatako, yours is a political sit up. Or just another constituency kekamukabya. That is how they are reasoning. It is a sad state. Natukano gamba Lord Mayor na yabade kabya anonya relevance sire. So that is where we are. So eventually I think we are okay with it. So I know there are other speakers that are coming in. So please allow me to stop here as I will continue listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, La Santos. That's really a wonderful submission. Now, when I was bringing this topic, it's a hard topic because all topics that require a person to look into their inside, into their hearts, honestly, they are hard conversations. They are very hard. Now we need to have this conversation. We need to have that self-reflection. Do you know what nothing to judging? Do we believe we are worthy of them? That is self-love. Okay. Now, La Santos, one of the things affecting our self-love are painful experiences. Painful experiences be your self-love. That's what even Sarah said at the beginning. Anything. China yet kugamba experience, painful experience, past experiences, Zami Sabubi. Niye chawa, Talabanti, are you worth anything good? So I don't want you are worthy of it. How are you going to work for it? Neither. So it's time to bring back ourselves. Tuekomyewo. Kubanga ebintu omuyaga gutukubanye kutujja ku mail. Ne gutukubanye omuyaga wangu weto debutu nujeri emabega jova. Esegera. Ngene jona gato kyalaba yo. This is why we need to reset. Now this is a moment for us to reset and re-energize and resolve individual and move forward. Kubanga notawolo okumanisa corruption tetugenda kulekerawo. Now, Dada, I know Moni Munkada, I don't know. I'm sorry. I think I'm saying your name very, very wrongly. I don't know if Dada, you have a minute.
Katamba.
When they're going, get tough. The tough must get going.
Submission here. So Katamba first wait. Hold on. Submission. Thank you so much, Florence. Thank you so much for hosting this space. One night, Thursday, we are supposed to be marching. We are supposed to be, having placards out. We are supposed to be showing our dissatisfaction towards our cause. But there are things, there have been distractions, just like there will always be distractions. And I don't want to, skip anything, but I'll say things, as less as I can. Because let me begin with the topic that our host chose for us this morning: self-love. Yes, I think self-love is so important, because if you don't love yourself, then it is even hard, to share that love with other people. And I feel like the best people who love themselves, or the ones who are at the apex of self-love, are actually the ones who are selfless. If you're willing, to fight for a cause for so many big people and for a bigger number of people, and you offer, your time, you offer your resources, you offer, your joy and your programs, and exchange them, with duty for other things that are going to help the collective. I think for me that is, the apex of self-love, when you're selfless. And that is what I would like to encourage, everyone to, strive always to be at that level of being selfless, doing things, for the wider cause, for the collective, for the whole majority. And that is what we should preach. I'll straight away go on to the issues that have been, pulling us aside here and there. And what I have to say is just one, we are going to fall every time. But what matters is how we pick ourselves up. We pick ourselves up and remember, and it's easy. Just look at our hosts, Evie, and remember those words. We are leaderless. If anyone tries to act as a leader, or if a group of people try to act like leaders, we just have to skip them because we are leaderless. We are tribeless. If anyone tries to bring things to do with tribe and anything like that, we just have to skip them and go forward. We are partyless and we are fearless. Also, we are priceless. If anyone tries to put a price onto what we are doing, then that's a problem. I am hesitant to generalize things because I understand that people who were arrested are different people, they are different, some have different agendas. So every time we speak, we are even hurting those that are really genuine and we're onto the cause. But I'll not dwell on that. I'll straight away jump and go to what I want to say today. What I want to say is we have a duty. We have a duty to call on the rest of the people who are like-minded to come back to the cause, because we cannot be the ones driving, anarchy and demobilizing people. We have to quickly go back to our beginning building blocks and chant them and remind the people of what we are and what we are supposed to do. Okay? What we are supposed to do, what we should be doing. Because some people have put in time, and I feel embarrassed that, we can even afford, to start, allowing that regression to happen. So everyone has a duty to remind themselves of what we're supposed to be doing at this time in the moment. That reminds me of a suggestion that someone brought up while, I think 2 weeks ago, and they said it in a space, I think it was an early morning space, and all of us looked at the guy and we were like, no, this idea that you're bringing really does not, it does not add up. But little did we know that what he's saying is going to manifest and it will kill people like in big numbers. Because someone came in a space in the morning and said, you know what, guys, we need to take dust, we need to take garbage to, to the doorsteps of the corrupt and things like that. We need to put garbage in their homes. I think Dr. Sela, I remember, and Florence, and people who were in that space. But it just hit my mind this morning, when I remembered that actually garbage, killed over 50 people and others are not yet found. And right now, there are trucks of garbage moving left, right, center. They don't know where to take garbage because everywhere they're trying to take garbage, the people there are raising with placards. You guys, we are in the eye of the storm. We cannot put Andy Mamas at this time. This is a time when we should be, increasing the pressure everywhere. So let these small distractions, be pushed away. We cannot give time to actually, even when the more we talk about them, the more, we make them important. So I feel like we just have to go back to where we started from, remember what the cause is, and also, try to learn as we go ahead. Because there are things that are coming in play and they are just meant to help us accelerate, go forward. Like the issue of Chitezi, that is where the pressure is supposed to be. We are supposed to be here in a space in the morning talking about every person who is responsible and making sure that placards are being, directed towards their homes, the areas where they reside in. These people should be arrested. People like, Chisaka, Dorothy, people like Luimbazi, and that is where the pressure is supposed to be. We have to keep this ball rolling and rolling and rolling, and we just have to keep out, the small things that are coming in, to start derailing us from the main course. So guys, for me, that is my main message this morning. We have to continue with our cause. We need to always stand up as fast as possible every time we stumble, because we are going to stumble many times, because, we are going to stumble on our own, and also there will be barricades put for us to stumble. So we always have to acknowledge that. And every time we have an opportunity like this day, this fresh Thursday, we have to remind ourselves that we have to go back on course. We have to retweet, Anita must resign. We have to retweet Stop Corruption. We have to go ahead and demand, for this, a very fast, they need to follow up the people who are responsible in KCCA that caused the mess in Chitezi. That is where the pressure has to be. The pressure has to continue being where it has to be. We have to continue doing things, the way we did them in the beginning before this whole saga came in. I don't want to digress so much, but that is my idea. That is what I'm thinking about right now. And then that is what I want to tell you guys. Just go into, your history, just 2-3 weeks, and pick that energy back up, okay? Let us not be derailed by, the small mistakes that we're going to keep making. We need to rise up every time and dust ourselves up and keep going. Those who are so damaged and cannot continue, we will, always give them, that room to, recover as we go on, because we really have to march on. We really have to march on. We need to gather ourselves online here, get our tweeting and hashtagging and making posters back on where it's supposed to be and increase it even more. That's my idea. Thank you, our host.
All right. Thank you so much, Dada, for that submission and reminding us where we should be. Yeah. The reason I brought this topic today is because I realized we need to reset. Sometimes, like me, I'm focused. Honestly, because I am anchored. I know I am going and I'm going exactly there. I'm fighting corruption. So but me being anchored and this being a team effort, I know there because I've heard voices. I remember people get lost. Why they even started, So we really have to create these moments of reminding ourselves. We must believe that we are worthy. Excuse me. We must believe that what we are fighting for is a valid cause. And this is why the self-love came in. It came in because we must love ourselves enough to know that we deserve better things for ourselves. We deserve not to die mukasasiro because people ate the money that was meant to take care of the garbage. We have to deserve enough to know that where they place us is not where we are. Never together, for example, today's issue. Never together. Ntikasasira jakugwa ali kunje kuyoga agenda kugwa. Ngabachimanya agenda kutta abantu. Never telako chibakola. Kasasiro nagwa. Right? Nagwa at 7 a.m. Nagwa kusa emwe yokumacha. Never telako chibakola abya first excavator nikaje at 5 p.m. Ostegera olunaku lulamba. Chitegeza ati boy batu take even insects are better than us according to them. Naye naffe tunyukwe self-love. We have to look into ourselves. Do we believe that the fight we are fighting for is just? Is it valid? Are we worthy? Good hospitals? Are we worthy? Emergency services? Are we worthy? Do we love ourselves enough to fight for it for ourselves? Florence, do I believe in nina value nange ndimu value ng'omuntu? Nina value, ndimu value ng'omuntu. Okudeserving okudeserving ambulance. Do I believe it? And if I believe it, do I love myself to that extent? And when you believe that, kitegeza bino wowe osimanyi bichi bugenda kuba nekagenda kwaka wewe okagenda kwanga ka breeze. Tiwa kigenda kutwa togenda kuhuguka. N'ekintu kyagambye kati nga okweyagaliza kuze. Niyo okweyagaliza omuntu eyagaliza bwati mweno cause. Nti neyagalizayo bampeyo ekyebiri bampeyo ekyetaano. Who sentence, for example, is anybody swala cause forward. Yenga yagala kulyako leero eyo omuntu. There is a question about self-love and values. When values is part of self-love. Omuntu nti olina value kimyoza kitegeeza ati nti ndina value kitegeeza ndi omulamwa nganze omuntu nina omulamwa omuntu bwandaba nange siri akayenji tempita mbuyise etyo wendi ekitegeera. So this is why I felt like it's important for us to actually be aware, bring this awareness kubanga abantu ebintu tubiyitamu tetubirowooza nako tubiyita mbuyisi tuti bababa ekiraba. So self-awareness, we have to understand our values and self-awareness. Actually, self-love. It's way a motivation to fight, to take actions, and to say no to things that don't work for us. When you can do that, you love yourself enough. Do we love ourselves enough to stand? The moment we are not anchored, yes. Anchored. Confused, I'm lost, I have given up. I'm confused. Excuses. We need to anchor ourselves. I see Paul, your hand is up. Microphone. You've been suffering with the network. If you are traveling or not. 1 minute. Mbambi. Self-love. 1 minute. Okay, Polly, unmute because you've been really suffering with the network.
Good morning. 1 minute. My 3 minutes. Yeah.
All right. 1 minute. Network problem.
Yeah, network problem. I've started working. What network issue? I know. Yeah. I have my own network. I think the place I'm working in is not very good.
Okay, well, then that's good. My
3 minutes. This topic is very. I'm burning for it. Can you my 3 minutes?
Katamba mute and speak to us. Katamba Wadi?
Hola soka yogere.
Hey, Chigongo. Can you probably have your 3 minutes? And then if Katamba is not ready, we'll have George. And by the way, if you want to speak, people, ask for the microphone. We are trying to get back on the main. Or you might have space to get up actions. We know this is to reset us, to remind us. Yeah? All right, Paul, you have your 3 minutes.
Kanjogere. Manyi wendi ndi ku mulimu ne bira nange webirizi. Akati flow n'abatuuliriza njagala mmanye ekintu kimu. Okay? Nti Ugandans have self-love. Era they even love their country. Naye twagatte tumanye bintu ki ebireetedde abanansi okulaba nga beekyawa n'okubanga they don't love their country. Okay, I'll take you right to South Africa. South Africa abazungu bajja ne bagifuga ne bajawulayawulamu. Okay, ne bawulayawulamu abantu. Okay, they oppressed blacks, they brought apartheid policy. Okay, kakati by the time they gave South Africa independence in 1994, a lot of things had gone wrong. Okay, ngomwana w'omuddugavu tasobola kusomerako ku gundi mu university nungi, tasobola kusomerako mu ssomero ddungi olw'okuba takola ki olwa system eri eya apartheid. Okay, if you are not an African, if you are not a bull, if you are not a white, okay, you cannot get certain services, you cannot go to certain hospitals. Okay, kakati as we speak now today, South Africa munsi yonna yesinga crime rate, naye nga bakola emisango egyo si bazungu, they are blacks. In fact, they even attack the fellow blacks. Why? Because they designed a system that is segregative, that deprives all South Africans of the services that they must get, even from the government. Okay? Now, when the Museveni's regime came into power, they found our fathers, our grandfathers, they loved their country, they loved each other. There was a sense of community responsibility. There was a sense of collective responsibility. Everyone was responsible for one another. Ngomwana wazza omusango ku kyalo omukadde wa wali n'akusanga ng'akugalamizaawo wennyini n'agamba nti toddamu kola kintu kino. Okay? Nga boddayo waka n'owaaba bajja kwongera bongezi miggo, because the community was responsible for one another. When Museveni came into power, n'atandika okola ki? N'atandika okudividinga Ugandan community. Okay? N'aleetawo systems ezize. Okay? Mu byenjigiriza, mu byobulamu ne mu myembeera z'abantu. Okay? By the time Museveni came, Dr. Stella Nyanzi can testify to that. Makerere ng'okugendayo, it is on merit. Okay? It is on merit. Sikuba nti oyina sente nyingi ova mu maka g'abagagga. No. Ate oyingirange Makerere nga buli service ogifuna nga bakuwa ne allowance. Okay? Ono omukulu ebyo byonna n'abijjawo. Okay? Omukulu ono yennyini natta ebyobulimi abantu baffe baali balimi balunzi byonna n'abitta. Okay? Abalunzi be yasangawo n'abanyagako ente zaabwe. Okay? Kati genda ekisozi efaamu erimu ente nga kakadde kalamba. Okay? N'aleeta ebiragala ebitategerekeka n'akuba emmwanyi z'abantu ne zifa. Okay? N'akuba ebitooke ne bifa. Okay? Abantu ne bagamba ye tukole ki? Okay? Abantu abasinga ne baddukira mu by'obusuubuzi. Okay? Bwe baddukira mu by'obusuubuzi, n'aleeta emisolo, n'atandika okubabinika emisolo. Nakati tutuuse lwaleero aleeta musolo guno naguli efreeze. Why? Kubanga he wants to make you slave in your own country. Era Museveni tayawukanye nnyo n'abafuzi b'amatwale, naye ate ali waasi ne banne okusinga abafuzi b'amatwale. Okay? Kuba abafuzi b'amatwale waakiri baazimbangako ku nguudo ezitegerekeka, baazimba railways, baazimba education institutions, be baazimba ezo zonna zi King's College Budozi Namiryango, Abaminsani. Okay? Naye mbuuliraako essomero erizimbiddwa ku mulembe gwa Museveni nga n'omwavu asobola oddisomeramu nga talina ssente, but it's on merit. Okay? Bwe yajja n'atunda buli kantu ka gavumenti konna ne gundi n'ebitongole byandituusizaako buweereza ku bantu. Okay? Gwe mulago obadde okimanyi nti alina private wing eri managed by a private investor, even the women's hospital. Nga yumu eyo private gundi eddagala lyo lisangayo nga lijjudde bulungi nnyo. Okay? Naye bw'ogenda eri mu bantu baffe mulago the rest tosangayo ddagala, tosangayo bikozesebwa. Kakati tutuuse olwaleero ng'abantu beekyaye lwakubeera nga embeera gye babataddemu mu ggwanga lyabwe tebasobozesa kweyagala na kwetaaya. Okay? My brother Kankwenza called them greedy barbarians. Our country fell into the hands of greedy barbarians. Okay? The greedy barbarians that don't mind about the future of our country, that don't mind about other people. What they mind about is to be rich, to be the only rich people in the village. The rest are beggars, the rest are slaves. That's what they mind about. Okay? Time has come for us to realize that actually the people who are ruling us are hyenas, and we must confront them. We must treat them with the way they treat us. Okay? We should not anymore regard them as our leaders, but these are hyenas. These are thieves. Okay? Kubanga, sometimes we use diplomatic language. Okay? Munai president, munai prime minister nabanja. Bano badikula. Okay? As long as we take them to still be our leaders, these are not our leaders. These are self-imposed dictators. Okay? If Ugandans have no power, okay, over the parliament that they think they erected, if Ugandans have no right to ask for accountability from these people over the taxpayers' money they have used, okay? Kakati, sagalo nenyenyo muna Uganda mbusele talina self-love. Tunulire embeera gye bataddemu mu Uganda. Nkubulidde South Africa nti abantu babateeka mu mbeera to an extent nti beekyawa. Okay? South Africa bw'osengayo n'ozimbayo amaka. Ekikomero olina kuzimba dabo. Okay? Va ku bino ebye Uganda. Olina kuzimba nga kiwanvu nnyo so that tebakuyingirira. Why? But those people had a future that was shattered. Okay? They had a future that was frustrated. They have frustrated potential. Okay? In South Africa, the worst came into us. To an extent nti banansi batuka n'okudduka masinzizo n'amannya g'eddiini ne bagejjako because even the religious leaders betrayed them. Okay? This is what is happening in Uganda. We have more churches than we have hospitals. Okay? And those religious leaders keep telling us, you should love your leaders, you should love your country. But what they preach is not what is practiced. In fact, if they were, the gospel was directed to this regime and its leaders, maybe we would have fundamental change. But they tell the people to have self-control, to have self-love. But they don't tell our leaders to love this country and put our country first. Fellow Ugandans, bolaba badikulanga bannabanja, anavaayo n'akinaguka, okay? N'alanga jange kasibira embale nti we kalifandika sanga omukalo n'adulira abantu abafiirwa abaabwe ekitezi. Okay? N'agamba zabadde enteekateeka za Katonda. Okay? Do you continue to respect that person as your leader? As I conclude, Sheikh Muzata yagamba nti ensi eno egenda kukuleetera amawulire gobadde tomanyi. Naye bano abantu ensi eno egenda baleetera amawulire gobadde tomanyi. Okay? Njagala olunaku kereko nga tulina obukulembeze obulungi nga they are no longer our leaders nga tebakyali mu bukulembeze balabako ensi how good leadership impacts the society. Okay? Sheikh omulala yagamba nti enjuki zaakuba olukuŋŋaana ku muti omunene ne zimalawo wiiki namba nga ziteesa kubizitwala mu maaso. Okay? Bwe zaamala wiiki namba bwe yaggwako ne zigamba omuti nti wategedde wa muti weebale kutukyaza naye kaakati yessaawa tugende twamuke. Naye olw'okuba tuli bangi nnyo weenyweze kubanga tugenda kubuuka. Okay? Omuti we gwawulira we gwabasekerera ne gubagamba nti bannange nze mwabakakiŋŋamba nti obwedda kwe muli naye nze mbadde simanyi nti nawe muli. So oba mugenda oba musigala, okay? Tewali buzibu. Mukole kye mwagala. Okay? So yeena ensi Uganda nti bano bajja kuva mu bukulembeze ensi beerabira n'okwerabira nti baali babaddewo mu nsi muneeno. Okay? Byonna bye bakoze, but those things they have done, they will haunt their children. Okay? They will haunt their children. Okay? Ojja kusanga muzzukulu wa Nabbanja. Okay? Weewuunye mu myaka egijja. Naye ffe tulina kusima musingi ssaawa zino okulaba nga abantu abo batuviira bava mu bukulembeze. Wabula bwe batatuviire, because if they don't leave us alone, okay? Bwe tutabajja mu bukulembeze bwe badibaze, bo bajja tujja ne mu bibanja byaffe. Because in South Africa, imagine, foreigners have more land, whites have more land compared to the blacks. Okay? In South Africa, the land belongs to the whites. Imagine, it belongs to colonizers. It doesn't belong to Africans. Okay? And they appointed the full minister in this government, Cyril Ramaphosa. Okulaba ngachi batereza ebintu by'ettaka omunansi nga talina waakolera bibye talina waalimira. Imagine kati these people they tell us for example we have mitwalo 7 foreigners but we have more than 8 million 2 million in Uganda. The same foreigners have started becoming hawkers. They have started doing local jobs that Ugandans are doing. When you go to Kansanga and Bunga, they are full. It's like a city of Eritreans and Somalis. Okay, it's not that we hate foreigners, but look at what is in the United Kingdom right now. If you have uncontrolled immigrants, you are selling your country. You are betraying your country. You are simply saying, Banansi Bagasa, you bring foreigners. Okay, we have foreigners who have national IDs. Okay, so. And you tell Ugandans that they don't love their country. Maybe they don't love their country because they are asleep. Oba they don't love their country because when they see others acting, when they see us acting, okay? On 23rd July when I was marching to Parliament, it was like a walk in the desert because ngantambula 8 a.m. okay, but ngabantu bali busy ababoda kakati I felt like I'm the only one who is still alive and the rest are dead. Oba I felt like ngabona ozuka ku machenyo ngekyalo kyonna kyebase naye nga gwe akazuku kotambula. That's how I felt as I was marching to Parliament. That's how I felt. Naye sabanenya abantu abo nengamba kati ndo tulina omulimu ogw'amaanyi ogwokola. If these people can hear that there is a march to Parliament, nsonga yakwerwanako ku bali bahanguzi ne bakera kugulawo ne bakola basanyufu nnyo ali akatoga akali abakola biri babikola, then I felt so heartbroken. I felt badly fed, nearly naked and ragtagged. Okay, and nengamba bwe naddayo bwe naba tebankute nenzira ku space nino gamba banna Uganda nti bannayo luno lwoya lwa munyindo tusutukire mu ngeri ategogwe kyai, otherwise tewali ajja tulwanirira. Okay, the worst is going to come to worst. And you've seen these things happen. The worst is going to come to worst. Tewali kigenda kukyuka mu mbabulira ebintu bigenda kwongera kwononeka agoge mawulire amabige nyinzo bagamba. Okay, nti munna Uganda ateekeddwa okumanya nti yeye nyini yagenda okwerwanako, tewali muntu mulala. Okay, naye njagala bakakasa nti bwoterwanako ofa. Okay, ne bwotafira ku street ojja kufiira mu ddwaliro mutali ddagala, ojja kufiira mu kasasiro gwe baagana okujjawo, ojja kufiira eyo nense kwerabire. Okay, so you rather die fighting for your country than to die in those places. Imagine if we had chosen gun violence. Okay, wandibadde mu Uganda asale Kampala nga awulire mundu evuga, wandibadde mu Uganda yadagulawo edduuka nge mundu eseka. Okay, kakati let's treat this struggle like that. Okay, nti struggle eno wejja when we say march to Parliament, it's like one way in Makerere, one way we bagamba one way ate todda gundi todda semuto nga tudda Kampala. Okay, when we say one way fenna tulina kola ki? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Katamba. Weba nyosebo. Kati, my co-host has dropped. LM has dropped. I don't know. I think it's network problems. So I really need a co-host just in case Mbula. Network on and off. I need someone. If you are there and you can co-host, please let me know. Just you can do a heart or something, or ask for the speaker microphone, something like that. Yeah. Otherwise, we might have problems. I just need a co-host, okay? Now, Katamba, thanks for that submission. It was really good submission. And then in choyogeddeko echa abantu okwechawa. Omanyi Uganda nga yensi. Mama Uganda baji raping and baji kwata and baji resist and baji embarrassing and baji kola chikati. Right now, Uganda, between any working institution, nothing is working for Ugandans. Nothing. So that affects the love for the country. It affects, it's not like Kenya. Actually, when the country is working for them, they want the country to actually really work for them. So they're protecting it. They're protecting their systems. They have that conviction. So that's why about Banji, while I want to speak and say, Abantu Abambala Kenyan bangles, Banji Nyok sing Abambala Ugandan bangles. Banji, Abantu Kenya Bambala Bango, Kudu Nakenya Gosanga in a bango, Kenyan. Which is not as well, of course, while you have at the comment section. That's real love. And they're in these kind of situations. Now, yeah, this has to be a two-way. The country is, we know Uganda is raped, Uganda is, turned upside down. And now it's our turn to give Uganda love. And we cannot do that if we do not recognize. This is, yes, about Wechawa, like I said before, Wechawa. The Mumpulira. First of all, who can be a co-host? Can you just, you can be Liam? Okay, I'll make you a co-host. Network, from the space, I've just come back. So let me
just... I can also co-host if you don't want me. If I don't have to talk, I can co-host because I'm in the middle of a library thing. So I can co-host if I don't have to talk.
Okay, Liam has offered, but I can make you too. I can also make you Stella.
Florence?
Yeah.
You can make Stella the co-host. Mia, I'm heading to work. I wanted just to tell you that you are audible, but you were breaking. Okay. I wasn't requesting to become a co-host. Thank you.
All right, let me send you Stella co-hosting. Just because the Bani Zokunkaska, they have tried it twice now so far to throw me out. I just went to wave it together. So, and I don't want to just disappear and no one can do anything, you know? Yeah. So I've sent you Stella, the co-hosting, you know, if anything happens, you can keep going. Just in case you don't have to speak until anything. Teze? Okay, let me first cancel, then I'll send it again. Kateze. Bob, what did you find your way? Bob, what did you co-host?
Yes, Njiraba, you know, you are invited to co-host. Njiraba.
Okay, let me first cancel yours. Maybe that's why it's not going together.
Yeah, I cancel the cat.
Kat. So, what did you find?
Yanyaba njifunye kasita kiba nti sirina kwogera kubanga buli lwe njogera abazungu bakyusa emitwe ne bantunuulira.
That's okay. I will until when I can't. or you could back up. I will speak. Okay. Thank you so much. Kale tugende maaso. Mbadde ngamba katamba nti we have to tuyinza okuba nga twekyawa yes ne we have to regain this. We have to regain this in a way that we have to see ourselves as worthy. Bwe tunaamala okwetunuulira nti bino byetulwanirira byaffe we are worthy of it. Okirawo, we are worthy of it. Kitegeeza tujja kuba tusobola okukola ki? Okubirwanirira. Nga ekibuyaga tatuyuya nnyo nga tetumanyi what we are doing. Nga we're so much confused. That's the thing. That's the spirit. I'm really hoping by the end of this space that we have, I'm really hoping at the end of the space into the na 1 minute or two na like a self-reflection. And we get re-anchored and re-energized and be able to go forward. Chechukuru. Kale, Polly, after Polly, then that will be George. I think a good girl. Oh, thank you so much also for accepting the co-host. It's okay. We're already busy. Then you can come in. All right, Polly.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Network. This time network, but I've been struggling since yesterday. Now, yeah, if I drop, then you know it's the network. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Over good night. Thanks. Thanks very much for holding this space. You get the kuchigambo self-love. I love that word, self-love. Kumacha, I always talk to my best friend every morning when I'm driving at work. To energizing ourselves. Etogera ku bintu. Omanyi tubali togera ku abantu abakulidde e Uganda mu bisulo tumanyi okubonaabona chechi. Okay, some of us tumanyi abamu tebamanyi. Kubanga as I remember I was interacting one time with my friend Olutalo Rajjano I think it was Obote too. Twali mu boarding school. Kakati muganda wange mukwano gwange yali mu boarding school. Newe twalina two different experiences. Yo Olutalo yali aluwulira buwulizi bino ebibatukanga tabimanyi biki people were going moving shifting enyumba bazibbye biki nefe we went through batuba ne batusengulawo ne tukola ki you know you be homeless kakati nga twogera tugamba can you imagine we live in a country tuva from the same country naye we have different experiences ne tuseka ne tugamba yo Olutalo talina kyamanyiko so she scored that's the Uganda we are living in ne tujja in diaspora nze mu diaspora ndabye ku bantu you people you can gundichi I think Florence Nestela Nyanzi mulabye abagagga mulabye these rich people how they behave bana abantu abagagga bakulide ko sent they lack self-love tebamanyi what self-love is ayinza kubanga ayina amamotoka ayina amaboti ayina amajets ayina scooters ayina everything naye they are the most lonely people tebalina self-love ejirotya ejanga you appreciate small things don't take things for granted. Learn how to enjoy small things. Just okugamba omuntu nnyabo wasizo otya. Appreciate it nogamba omuntu yanfaako. ne weekubaganya n'ozuuka ku makya nti oli alive. Appreciate that. Obuntu obutonotono bwe butukola of having that confidence in us, okay, we are talking about Museveni atugulunyiza. Look at the people who are going to leading us. This ruler. Omusajja nze kisinga okunyiza nti atuyita abazzukulu. We should deny that. Museveni tulina omuganda tatuyita abazzukulu. Kubanga imagine what kind of grandfather abazzukulu be. Florence, nizo kuddamu kubanga nfunye an incoming call at work. Kanziremu. Let me take this.
Carrie, that's okay. Take your time. Whenever you finish, you can come back and ask for the mic again. It will be available. Yeah. All right, people. Yeah, we keep going. We keep going. So, Jagala, I want to re-echo. What is self-love? When you have self-love, you appreciate yourself. When you meet someone, you appreciate yourself, and you have this positivity about yourself. You look at yourself in a positive way. So you don't feel like you're worthless. No, when you value. You know, it starts with you. It's okay. And you can't stop that. That is self-love. Whether this is it's a method when people want to put others down, okusobola okubafuga obulungi. Basooka ne bakujjamu okulowooza nti you're worthy. Nti naawe oli muntu olina value. Bakola ebintu ebikumalamu ebikubuusisa n'ogamba nze nabaaki. Nze nabaaki nzaani. Kitegeera, you question yourself. Katinga, for example, there are so many things. I will just use the recent example. Katinga yeekiteezi. Okiraba. Omuntu asurvivinze, for example, ayinza okutandikirawo n'afuna trauma n'atandika okwebuuza banzija mu kasasiro. Oshtegera, na losing a self-worth, na losing a self-love, and that person a bit good counseling as well recovering. But all this is all around that. Oshtegera. So for me today, Chenjagala, I really want us Ugandans to realize we are worthy. We are worthy. When we are fighting corruption, we deserve it. We are worthy to be, we deserve it. We deserve it. Ate, si government be not out of mercy. Kusasira, Katinga, the way Nabanja went yesterday. Yabadenga abakolera, Nambeti Yabadenga, Abasasido Gendo Balaba, about 8 days. Nabaita, Bumujam Zangan 5 kilometers away. Yabaden, Kugambaringa Bakolera. You are thinking as if she's doing them a favor. Nenga, is that how it is supposed to be? You're not worthy. The thing is, we should believe we are worthy. We have to go back to the basics. To anchor ourselves. Why am I in this march to parliament? Why am I in this? Why am I fighting to stop corruption? Why you are doing all this? Okay? Basics. We are priceless. We are leaderless. We are partyless. Yes, I belong to a political party. Uganda. We are fearless. Basics. On our individual basis. As a Florence, I am worthy. Whatever I'm fighting for is for me. Yes, we are going to all benefit as Ugandans, but I am benefiting. From a good hospital, I benefit. I deserve it. And I'll fight for it. Bine empowered in Chibuyaga, Yuya Nazeri Nazeri. Tagenda kutuyuza nnyo. Tayina gyagenda tutwala. Nena ubango lya nga tomani. Oli mukine ekintu because of so and so another person. Oli akoze kino nodda kwekyo. Oli akoze kiri nodda kwekyo. Oli akoze kiri nodda kwekyo. Ne wechawa no bela confused and lost. Oshtage. Don't be confused. No bela kwekyo. The thing is, I will say this again. We have to be kind to ourselves. This is the first time as Ugandans we're too giant to together with no one leading us. If we're not leaders, if I'm a leader, Good Girl is a leader, Stella is a leader, George is a leader, it means we're going to make our mistakes. There are going to be mistakes, and we all are different. We think different. We act differently. Together, we're not mistakes. Because they don't stop corruption. So that means, at the back of our mind, we have to know these things. To know my mistakes are going to be made. Good things are going to be done. Like it or not, wonderful, beautiful things, achievements. But on the way again, there are going to be some challenges. But when you know you are anchored ng'omanyi ndi kumenya enda wali ekibiyagona wuba muko takujja kumenya ate bwakujjako konya kuba muko takusuula eri wansi mu vale mbuze mbivuddemu simayi bino baki simayi bano baagala ki simayi bano basala deal simayi bino biki okitegera wajja kumanya nze kyenwanirira. It's out of my self love. Nze nganze omuntu okweyagala nti I'm worth of this thing, so I will fight for my rights. I will say no to things that don't work for me. I'll keep going. George, come save this microphone from me. Come speak to us.
All right. Thank you, Flores. Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you, George.
All right. Mbalamusiza ko munamwe n'abatuwuliriza. Tuso kwebaza kwange eri mwenna bakipinga mu pushing this struggle amidst all these challenges. And in light of the fact that there's been a lot going on ever since some of us came out, I personally decided to take a sabbatical to reflect and re-energize and come back stronger. Naye nagenda okudda nga bingi ebituuseewo nga yowuza n'otandikira nga tulabawo abantu bafidde mu kasasiro ekiteezi ebyogedde ebingi. And I would just want to remind all of us here how we started this, where we came from and how we got here. We had objectives to achieve. Even when we made the first attempts of going to the streets and make our voices heard, a number of these objectives have not been achieved. And with the ongoing challenges like the deaths that have been innocently lost because of the failures of our leaders to understand that they have to deliver services, could only help us amplify this very cause and re-energize ourselves as a people and mobilize more people. Honestly speaking, guys, we have a journey ahead of us that is very long, a journey that is going to be faced with many challenges, and you can only be attached to the ideas of this journey and not to individuals or personalities or this and that. A lot has been happening, and to me it is very saddening, and I just want to add my voice onto what has been said because I think I share my thoughts and views with most of the speakers here. Moving on forward, tulina okutegeera embeera gye tulimu ng'eggwanga. Gundi muganda wange Katambaze n'ayogera waneeno. And at some point, even when Ugandans do recognize the challenges we have faced as a country, not majority of them are bothered. They're simply bothered not because they do not want to see change, but they have not had the urge to push them to actually understand that they have a civic responsibility to do something as a people. When we started these spaces of March to Parliament, we ignited a hope for a generation, a hope for a country, that actually there are people that can do something to bring about this change that we desire as a country. It is disheartening at a moment in time that now that very hope that we ignited is being shut down by most of us actually that have brought this hope. And this, as in one or the other, demobilize people. But I would want to say one thing, that in every silver lining, in every cloud there is always a silver lining. You never know. So as we move forward and as we look to fight harder and as we look to make our voices heard beyond what we've been doing in the previous weeks and months, we know we are very, very intentional, we know we are very, very focused, and we have to be very, very anchored, just like Florence says, anchored on the ideas and principles and values that made us start this cause. At the end of the day, not all of us will have a chance to see the Uganda that we desire, just like Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, but did not see the promised land. But our contribution to this cause will never go unnoticed. And also, there's been a development of a mentality of entitlement to most people, and that is very, very, very wrong. We cannot purport to fight an evil and then we ourselves tend to behave like that very same evil. We as a Ugandan people have to understand that people contribute to this cause differently. Honestly speaking, I used to only pray hard that I can come out as soon as possible because I'm community yegombesa. Era when avayo nebaza nnyo buli muntu sekinomu yakola buli kisoboka okulaba nga tukola ki tuvaayo. Ate nensigala okwebaza nabo n'abasobola okulaba nga nti this cause, even when some of us were taken in jail, they kept pushing it and never felt intimidated. With the very same confidence and courage we exhibited back then, with the same spirit that we had back then, during 23rd and the days before, the days after, we should pick up from there and continue this fight. And then as I conclude and yield the mic back to you, Florence, I want to say one thing. All of us here have the power to define what we are fighting for, to define the narrative that we want. Let's not become the very people actually that define the narrative, that brings about the narrative that brings us down. We should take up the power not only to fight but also define who we are, define what we want, and define what we want to achieve. We have that power to define that narrative, but most importantly, we also have the power to achieve what we want. Back to you, Florence.
All right, thank you, George. Thank you so much for your submission. Yes, the power is in our hands, and we have to feel like we are worthy of it. Mistakes are going to be made. Good things are going to be made. I am going to make a mistake today. I'm going to do some... No, let me do this. Okay, I've not made any mistake yet. I'm going to do some good things today. Tomorrow I may make a mistake. So, but, again, going back to the basics. It's not about so and so. Now we as an individual. This is why everyone is a leader. I'm a leader of myself, you're a leader of yourself. The mistake is all as you as an individual. By the way, leaders went to the police station. But we've never had any leader. We are organizers. We've never had any leader. Brian, you are laughing. I have never had any leader in this movement. But if for you have had leaders, it's up to you. It's your own conviction. I have never gotten, but I am the host and I am commanding. I am the host. Nyena ba mwena microphone si mwogere. Ositagedde. Wana. Yebu bajaji bana mulaji mutankula Florence. Naye person I'm speaking for me in this cause, in this movement. I have never had any leader. I have never taken any instructions from anyone. It's okay. You want to space to ja. Then I don't know now. You're going to see Jacola. Bilonda. Or staged. So we are joking around using a bandwagon because in this cause I am my own leader. Kati gwamkwano banga tewasala okulonda leader. Not only muntu omulala as your leader. Obo musango guli kugwe. Butawuliriza. Kubanga you are told you this is leaderless. Netugenda we are priceless. And I think you know from the beginning to charge musente the twice on accent the jam sente. For a reason. Sente zitabula. Era sente ezajja nzizimanyiko zezaita mu Agafa. Nchizali za legal aid. Oshitegedde. Anazi nazisonda. Oshitegedde. Kubanga in the position I was in, I couldn't go on physically to match. Oshitegedde. Because I couldn't physically match, I had to do what I could do. That was at least fundraising for the legal aid, for bail and everything that was happening. And I did it. And I'm proud of myself. Oshitegedde. So, I am not a foreigner and in Uganda. I am a Ugandan. So, because I did that, Katinze, atafunyanga ku foreign money. Ojote no ngamba, ntiate we are foreign funded. Nti sijimanyi because in the city foreigner, atenze nange nakwata musanzo nkubasa ndakati onkaka sotya. Bwobanga gwali oli ground oba anybody nga tofunyanga ku sente eva mu foreign body. Kati ate gwe lwaki gwata amsa negative nti we are foreign funded. Tosifunangako. Okutanga bazifuna omanyi muyitaye manji namugenda musaba sente okitagenda wabanga gwazisabanga gwe wabanga fe wano mu march parliament cause tetusabanga ku sente from any foreigners okitagedde wano jayo space yonna gye twa raising and tugamba tuli ku raising money from foreigners eziwa okitagedde era nga tubyogerako ebintu bino ebya funding ola naffe fenyini twasigala netwegaana ffe fenyini okwejjamu sente kubanga zaali zijja tutabula kati otugenda tuzijja ebweru. Kakati bannange era kinkigambe because we are our own leaders. We are our own leaders. Okujanga bugamba agenda naye ziba zizo private tizaali za march parliament cause. So zitukwatako byewefunya privately gwomanyi era bwobanga tewaziwa muntu n'omu okujanga bugamba kubanga this is a leaderless gund cause. So this is why we have to go back to the basics. Ate bintu bwe tubyogere bannange nga biyita mu matukutu ne bitayita just mu kulala ne bifuluma. We have to put these things into practice. It is to funja butateka bintu bino into practice. Our basics, our basic principles must be in practice. Now with them, what is WhatsApp groups? The only WhatsApp groups that try encouraging one of space because our things are here in the open. The small for mobilization, you go. People you are mobilizing more money to organize yourself to go for the protest. Say your government we have any leaders in some WhatsApp group. You're nobody's leader. Anyway, I think ababikiza mu musingo omusango. Okitegedde. Mutujja ku main. We are talking about self-love today. Okitegedde. Twogera ku bintu tetuva ku main nnyo. You can talk about it but don't go over too much. Because today we are resetting. We are resetting ourselves. You know, we are resetting tugende maaso. Okay? Simanyi bankasuse bweru. Mukyaliyo bannange mukyambulira. Tonagasika. Abantu space bano bangi. Kati tubadde tugenda ku poli. Poli after poli, Bob. Bambi, ask for the mic. Ndabe abali questing for the mic and then network ambi. Like you count 1 second then you drop. I can't see you ebintu bwebityo. Keep asking please. Keep asking for the mic. Poli, you can unmute.
Hello. Hello. Okay, sorry for the interruption. But then njogera ku kintu about self-love. Today's topic. But then bagamenti nochi. Twina ba rulers abatalina self-love. Those are the people oppressing us. Museveni and his goons. We need to know that to these people, they hate themselves so bad. Ntino tebagaliza kintu kyonna. Chobola baba amataka gaffe, batabana baffe, batwala everything we have. Kubanga tebagaliza. They don't have that self-love within them. Kakati, you cannot give what you cannot. You cannot give what you cannot have. tosobola kuŋŋamba nti no singa Museveni yali ayagala Uganda singa atutta Museveni singa ayagala he states always nti no tuli bazzukulu Museveni tali si grandfather waffe. We should deny him that. Tulina kimudenyinga kubanga just tell me muntu ki ata grandfather ata bazzukulu be. It doesn't make sense at all. Kakati, we need to stand up for what we believe. Speak your truth if you stand alone. Don't let anyone walk over you.
I went against
walking over us.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I went against the shipping cartel and they tried to kill me.
Bananga, what's happening?
So, I'm sorry to interrupt, but my name is Christopher Joseph Gregg, and I went up against the shipping cartel and they tried to kill me.
Imagine that.
They did. It got weird. You know,
okay.
Do you guys?
It's so sad.
Do you ladies know what the shipping cartel is?
No, Christopher. Let's probably finish. Then I'll give you some time to speak. Okay? Because I don't know what it is. All right, Polly, keep going.
Anyway, nze mbadde ndi ku kintu kino nti nno tosobola kugaba kintu ky'otalina. That ruler has no love for Uganda, has no love for his bazzukulu. Talina kintu. I think the thing is, talekerawo tuyita bazzukulu. Museveni is not our grandfather. Museveni is the alien from Rwanda, Yajja Nakula to capture our country. We should know that. Kakati badenge nagamba. Don't let anyone walk all over you. We need to have a soul for our country. Love your country, no whether at our hearts. Banange, what about torturing? No one should dictate how to feel. You can feel the pain. Now you can choose not to be there. Simple things. We call a rather not happy. Be grateful for what we achieved. Kakati, I think I love Tamani, never akomyewo reflecting. That's how we need to act. Ekintu obanga tokiwulirangako kiwulirize or reflecting ofunemu nfunamu kigundi kirungi ki ogende n'ekirungi. Nayenga, we need to be grateful for what we have. Take Ugandans to a problem of entitlement. I think George mentioned that. Oli omuntu oyinza omuwa ekintu n'omuwa something not expecting unto jamuwade your whole body. Omuwaka akagalo katuna abayagala kutwala engalo zonna etaano n'akwata n'omukono n'ekibegabega n'egundi yonna bayagala gitwala. This entitlement thing kigenda tusuula wala nnyo. Abantu aba taking things for granted, they are entitled. Tebalina that self-love. They always expect that Florence oba Pole yagenda okukola kino. Florence yagenda okuwaayo ssente. Yesterday I was listening to that space, interesting space ya Jill ya ssente. I was so agitated, never just so concerned about that. About what's going on. I mean, we collected money. I collected money. Now I don't demand that money back. I collected that money to help people about the oppressed, about them again for a reason. Now, yeah, I was hearing things which were disturbing me. Abantu bagala kutwala ssente ezo basasule renti, basasule business zaabwe zagudde. Bannange, where are we heading to? Tulina okulekera having that greed for money. That's not love. Oyinza okubeera nze nasange abantu eyo egundi ekisolo eyo nga bali mbusisi ate balina amazi. Those people were very happy. Naye nosanga omuntu mukalina alina Benz, alina everything naye nga tali happy. What's the difference? They appreciate the small things they have in their life. Never gamba, okay, tomorrow ngenda kulya muwogo. Alina small gundi ki goals. Happiness.
Okay, I think we've lost Polly. But you can all hear me, yes? Oh, good. I think we have lost Polly. So, well, not good. Okay, I think it's Bob next. Then after Bob, Brayo. And then Stella. All right, in that order.
Yes, thank you, Florence. Thank you, Florence, because this space, you are trying to instill that self-love in us. It is always there, but it has been withered by these leaders who are trying to confuse us and who are trying to confuse us, not to realize our self-worth. Nevertheless, we're so grateful to be here as we continue to soldier on. We still have a long way to go, but when we observe how far we've come and we examine where we are, it's not where we want to be, because our intention and the main objective is to topple. I repeat, to topple Mr. Museveni's regime. That is our core value. So, speaking of love, this very morning, I'll start by quoting the words of one of the great teachers of mankind by the names of Manly P. Hall, who stated that when the mob governs, man is ruled by ignorance. And when the church governs, man is ruled by superstitions. And when the state governs, he is ruled by fear. Before man can live together in harmony and the understanding, ignorance must be transmuted into wisdom. Superstition must be transmuted into illuminated faith. And fear must be translated or converted into love. So, brothers and sisters, for far too long, for the past 4 decades, Museveni has governed us in the sense of a mob. Now, you can imagine a man who sit or who dress in suit and tie and come in parliament and try to make what is wrong to be right. Isn't that a mafia? Tamale mirundi yafudde ayogera kuba mafia. Wano Manly P. Hall omusomesa w'ekikula ky'abantu yagamba nti omuntu bw'afugibwa si kulemberwa, bw'afugibwa ne ba mafia afugibwa lwa butamanya. Nti ate era omuntu bw'ajja n'afugibwa n'endowooza z'amadiini afugibwa n'ebintu ebibanga ebyawongo. Era omuntu bw'ajja wafugibwa state oba dictatorship, to be specific, dictatorship ng'eya Museveni, omuntu ono bamufuga lwa kutya. Era nti ffe bannayuganda tujja kufuna emirembe era tufune omukwano gwaffe guddewo oluvannyuma lw'okukizuula ne tuddula ne tuzuula obutamanya buno ne bufuuka amagezi, n'okutya kuno ne kufuulibwa omukwano gwe tulina mu nsi yaffe. Bannyinaze ne baganda bange, twakuzibwa tumanyi nti teri kisinga mukwano, era ffenna tumanyi nti ekiri mu Katonda kiri kintu eki mukwano. Naye abantu bano be yasuumuusaamu ne bajja ne batuula mu bifo eby'obukulembeze, munnange baddidde omukwano ne bagufuula obukyayi. Nga lwaki bagufudde obukyayi? Kubanga baddira obuli bw'enguzi ne babuteeka mu maaso, ne balowoozesa omuntu gwe bateekeddwa okukulembera wabula gwe bafuga kati nti bw'olya enguzi oba bw'ogenda n'osomesebwa mu ssomero ebyokusomeseddwa biba bituufu, naye bw'otuuka okuweereza abantu olina okugendera ku ebyo ebyateekebwawo abo ebyakumanyiizibwa nti tolina kukola kintu kituufu nga bw'okisomesebwa. Muganda wange, abo be bantu abazizza omukwano gw'ensi yaffe emabega. Ng'era omulembe guno ogwasituse ne gugamba nti ssetteeserezo waffe alina kufulumya amateeka galeeta harmony. Manly P. Hall gy'ayogeddemu gye tusobola okuba ffenna nga tukkiriziganya nga bwe twali Sserwajja Okwota, Yoweri Museveni Kaguta afutubadde mu bitongole eby'obukulembeze bya Uganda nga tannajja. Twalina omukwano ogwaleetanga omuntu n'agenda e Bunyolo n'ajjayo omukyala n'amuwasa mu Buganda. Ogwo gwe mukwano oguyunga ensi. Omunyolo n'agenda mu Arua n'ajjayo omukyala, Omuganda n'agenda e Busoga n'ajjayo omukyala. Ogwo gwe mukwano ogwaleeta Uganda okubukaala n'erinnya ne tufuna eritutwala yadde amawanga gaffe ga njawulo, naye ne tufuna erinnya ery'oluganda olwo. Gwe mukwano Florence gwagambye self love is key. Kubanga self love is key, ejje etya nti self love. Bwe ntunuulira Florence ne situnuulira ggwanga lya Florence, naye ne ntunuulira omukwano guli mu mutima gwa Florence, muganda wange, mpulira ddala nti ebiva mu Florence bya mazima, kubanga ebikolwa bye bijjayo kiri ekyatuleetera okufuna erinnya lye bayita Uganda. Bwe Buganda, the clusters. Tosobola kufuna clusters without love. So dear brothers and sisters, we are going back to the basics. Munnyinaze Stella Nyanzi kyayogeddeko. Omukwano ogw'ekimmemmette ogwatuleeta nti tusobola okongregatinga wano digitally ne tugamba ddala kijja kitya nti omukwano gwaffe gwaweddewo, nti aweereza amawulire ku TV asobola okgenda n'aweereza amawulire amakyamu ng'amatuufu agamanyi, avudde nagwo mu kazigo ke okujja ku TV okusoma amawulire, naye olw'okuba bamumanyiizizza kiri nti oteekeddwa okulimba abantu b'oweereza osobole okufuna omusaala n'akyerabira. Kakati wano Florence agamba nti gwe munnamawulire yasoma amawulire ng'era olina ebisaanizo ebiweereza ku lutimbe lw'ensi. Muganda wange, singa otuuka ng'ekitongole ekikkozesa kikugamba soma ebikyamu mu kifo ky'ebituufu, muganda wange, engeri yokka gy'olina okununula omukwano guli mu mutima gwo lwakuteekawo bikozesebwa n'ogamba empisa ezanjigirizibwa mu journalism tezinzikiriza kusoma bikyamu. Akampumulemukko, Mukama bw'anaabakkiriza nja kufuna ekitongole kyenkolera oba oli awo mu Uganda empya, nkanziryo omukwano gwange njogere ku bantu b'ekitezi. Ki ekyaleetedde kiteezi? Olowooza byabadde bisasiro kubumbuluka oba byategeddwamu dynamite nga Museveni alina ebigendererwa? Abantu abalangwa ku TV nze asoma amawulire bennanga be batuufu, oba bantaddemu koodi nti nyina kulanga bano kubanga nyina okufuna omusaala oluvannyuma lw'omwezi? Muganda wange, tunoonya self love yabulirawa? Kubanzikiriza nti twagirina era tugirina. Naye okubuzaabuzibwa kwa byabannabufuzi bye batutaddemu, nja kunokolerayo abasajja ababuzaabuza abaleese obukyayi mu bantu. Obukyayi si kukyawa kufumita munno kiso, wabula okwekyawa n'obeera nga tokyasobola kutunula ku kikyamu kye bakola munno, n'obeera nga tolina laavu nti omusajja ajja nga ayambadde leeya wabula abagalidde omugemerewala, n'abajjamu omuntu ng'abajjemu omuntu omu bali basatu, naye mwe be bajjeemu oli omu musigadde muli bisatu. ng'ebisatu ebyo bisobola okuteeka wali emmotoka mu kkubo w'amayinja eno drone ezza okunona omuntu naye nga terina weeyita nga poliisi erina okujja neeyogerera baani abakutte emmundu abatwala mutuuze munnaffe yeera ava eyo Florence gy'aleese ku makya kuno ebulidde wa laavu Museveni agibuzizza atya nti abantu ekiteezi bafa abagenda mu 607 Museveni n'asigala ng'asobola okugenda ebuvanjuba bwa Uganda n'agamba agenze ku kakolokolo nti asobola okugenda obugwanjuba bwa Uganda nti agenze ku mukolo nga wana abantu waguddewo kye bayita tragedy a man-made tragedy